Universal Design for Learning, VIU Graduate Diploma in Special Education, Assistive Technology. Today I'm going to share some ways that technology can be used to support the principles of Universal Design for Learning in an early primary classroom in BC. UDL is an educational approach inspired by the architectural principle that buildings should be designed for access by people with and without disabilities. In the 1990s, a team from the American Center for Applied Special Technology, or CAST, applied this idea to education, describing principles of universal design as UDL, or Universal Design for Learning. UDL assumes that every child has the right to access school and education and the community of their peers. Every child has something of value to offer the world. Children should know that they are unique, that they matter, and that they live in a diverse world with incredible beauty. Just as the addition of a ramp at the entrance to a building ensures that people with walkers, wheelchairs, strollers, and able bodies alike can enter a building, the UDL approach encourages the use of teaching frameworks that consider a diverse range of learners in the original lesson design that are accessible to all. Let's look at how technology might provide learners with options in each of the three principles of UDL. The first principle of UDL is engagement. Engagement is the why of learning, and part of this principle is preparing learners to be ready for learning. UDL can create compassionate learning communities by supporting the social and emotional regulation that we know is key to focus and learning. Teachers can communicate behavior expectations in a visual way through timers, charts, photographs, social stories, videos, or student-created models. And if you haven't checked out the visuals being created by Kristen Weens at North Star Paths, I recommend you take a look. Technology also has powerful applications in terms of metacognition, or encouraging children to think about their own thinking and learning. Especially for early years students, pedagogical documentation and pedagogical narration teach metacognition and a culture of community knowledge building. The second principle of Universal Design for Learning is representation, or the what of learning. UDL includes appropriate accommodations and supports, or differentiation, that are accessible to all. Teachers can provide a variety of ways for children to read, hear, or view material, access their prior understanding, and build new knowledge through photographs, videos, or presentations that are live or recorded. Technology can be used strategically to give access to print, for example, through reading applications or web extensions that include highlighted letters or words or narration. Technology may also provide children with alternatives to communication through speaking and writing. For example, apps that enable children to point to a series of letters or pictures to communicate. This access is especially important for young children who can't usually communicate the richness of their understanding through written words. The idea is that texts are leveled and barriers to understanding are removed so that the learning tasks can have a low floor and high ceiling, or everyone can access the material and children can extend their learning as far as they'd like. It should be mentioned that any technology should be carefully vetted to make sure it encourages active rather than passive use and is culturally responsive. It's important for early year students to construct their own meaning and discuss the learning process in small group and whole group conversations with peers and adults. Technology can support this goal when it's used as a tool for children to explore content and to become active creators of content themselves. Even in early years, children can learn about privacy, internet safety, and respectful communication through technology, and these are very important components of digital literacy. Here are just a few examples of technology that represents learning content in an engaging way. Apps that include interactive features allowing children to manipulate letters or numbers are highly engaging and scaffold learning. Examples include Dragonbox Math and Endless Alphabet. Khan Academy and Prodigy present math lessons in an engaging format with built-in challenges. Epic connects school and home reading opportunities and has built-in accessibility features. The third principle of Universal Design for Learning is action or expression. This is the how of learning. Most early years or kindergarten to grade 2 students are at the beginning of learning to represent their ideas through print, but they have many sophisticated ideas and connections. Teachers typically observe or discuss students' learning and then scribe or record the results. Technology provides ways for children to show and tell their thinking independently and with greater authenticity. Teachers can provide digital tools for students to construct products that represent their learning. Again, the choices are offered to all students rather than targeted at certain students based on deficit. Some examples of tools that young children can master and that provide ways to express their understanding include stop-motion animation, clips, Storybird, digital portfolio apps like FreshGrade that help children communicate their learning with families, and providing video and still cameras, lights, music, or sound production technology for students to explore through play. To conclude, the principles of universal design are important when planning instruction to ensure access for all learners. There are some exciting technological tools that increase engagement, access, and opportunities for representation for very young children. We should carefully consider how tech might meet the principles of universal design for learning and allow children opportunities to use these tools to support their learning.